If there's anything that life has taught me, it's that dating is very, very complicated. When I was a kid, I thought that asking someone out was a complete waste of time. As I grew older, my beliefs stayed the same, but I had made friends since then who had significant others of their own. Eventually, the peer pressure got to me, and I signed up for the first dating website I could find. Now, I can't say whether the following events occurred because of that particular website, or just my terrible luck. Just to be safe, I'm going to refrain from naming that website in question. During my time on that website, I managed to find what I consider a respectable amount of matches. The dates I had with these women ranged from mediocre to just plain strange. The first instance of one such date involved a woman we'll call Janice. She was about my age, blonde hair, rather petite, and seemingly a normal girl. We talked about our interest for a few days over IMs, until we eventually agreed to meet at a local cafe for lunch. The afternoon started out fine. We talked about work, our families, what we did on the weekends. The only thing that really bothered me was her tendency to check her phone every 5 minutes or so. I asked her if she was expecting a call or something, but she brushed it off as nothing and quickly changed the subject. As lunch was winding to a close, Janice indeed got a phone call. She took one look at her phone, then immediately looked at me and said she needed to take it outside. I nodded and watched as she quickly left the cafe, putting her phone to her ear as she went. As she spoke on the phone, she paced back and forth, her expression seeming somewhat nervous. I was naturally concerned, but I knew better than to meddle in someone else's personal business, so I politely waited, occasionally checking my own phone. After about 15 minutes, she came back in and asked if I'd come with her to a nearby convenience store for a quick errand. I agreed to accompany her, noting how she still looked paranoid about something. When we got there, she told me to wait outside, which was odd, but I figured she'd want me to stay with her the whole time. Regardless, I shrugged it off and lit a cigarette while I waited. 10 minutes passed, then 20, 30, and so on. What was taking her so long? Was she having trouble finding whatever she needed? The store was rather small, so it couldn't have been that hard. Despite her instructions, I decided to be a gentleman and go inside to assist her. However, a split second before I touched the door handle, the inside of the store went pitch black. Now, it wasn't like the power inside went out. The view from the outside windows was nothing but pure darkness. I couldn't make out a thing. I reached for the handle to let myself in, but a sudden bad feeling in my gut made me hesitate. Looking around, I noticed that nobody else seemed to notice this unusual event. People on the street passed by without even a glance in the store's direction. After about 5 minutes, the light in the store came back. The interior looked exactly the same, as if nothing had happened at all. I couldn't see Janice through the window, so I stepped inside to see if she was alright. The other customers I saw looked fine, although I think I heard one whisper to another when I passed. When I couldn't find Janice, I asked the cashier if he had seen her come in. Nope, I'll let you know if I see someone like that though. I thanked him and made my way to the door. As I did, however, I noticed another customer whispering to his companion. When I looked at them directly, they immediately stopped and turned away from each other. I was weirded out enough by Janice's sudden vanishing that I didn't really pay it any mind as I left. I have messaged Janice since then, and I've yet to receive any sort of reply. A few days ago, her profile on the website was taken down. I tried calling her, but was met with the standard "this number is no longer in service" message. I'm not sure what happened to her, but given the way she acted and the circumstances of her disappearance, I don't have the highest hopes. I get told I'm a creep, and no, it's not because I'm a stalker. I'm not a killer or anything else. My flaws, I like to send D-pics, call me a serial sexter. And yes, it includes unsolicited pics. Okay, maybe it's not the classiest thing in the world, but hell, it's not like I harass girls online via profanity or body shaming. I don't call them bad names or whatever. I mean, guys can be self-conscious too. Yeah, I know there's more pressure on women to appease society's standards of beauty. I get it. Only an ass would disagree with that. But still, Women can get attention and flattery so goddamn easy. Half of these profile pictures are butt selfies, or them cradling their big boobs. And needless to say, they get a bajillion likes, so what's wrong with me uploading one of my big bulge pictures? Why does that make me a creep, or an ass? Even when I go rogue and send them unsolicited, I still get a girl's attention if she's in the mood. I'm a nice looking guy. I get told I've got a nice baseball butt too. I don't see where me taking booty or D-pics makes me all that different from the Instagram models or all that other single girl and their provocative dating profile pictures. It's the same motivation, and I crave the attention. I collect compliments just like they do. This Friday night was no different for me. I was home alone in the middle of nowhere, isolated and surrounded by woods for neighbors. I was a college kid with no friends, needless to say, no girlfriend either. My parents' house was big and fancy, but it could get lonely living out here in the boonies, especially when I knew all my classmates were out getting drunk and having the time of their lives. All I had right now was TCM's black and white horror movie marathon for entertainment, a 12-pack of cheap beer for companionship, and my cherished apps for comfort. Meet Me, Tinder, Snap, Kick. I hit them all up in search of a sexy chat, in search of compliments. It's been a nice night so far. I'd talked to a few girls and showed off for them. Oh, you're so cute, Patrick. Yeah, I was doing alright, and my night had just gotten better. I'd just matched with a gorgeous 21-year-old, Nicole. She looked exotic, and her style was creative. She'd had on a psychedelic wardrobe in all her pictures. Think a hippie Paula Patton. And she was actually cool to talk to. Thank you, Tinder. Our conversation escalated pretty fast. She liked my bulge pics. Both of us gave out compliments like hotcakes. And holy crap, she lived close by. Maybe less than 30 minutes from here. For once, I had actually matched with someone within a reasonable distance. Not to mention someone who seemed really quirky and hot. Screw getting her Snapchat. Nicole was even cool with giving me her number. My joy escalated as I downed my fourth beer like it was a victory cigar. We started texting and the magic continued. Nicole was an English major like me, and we both loved horror movies. We were both even watching TCM, William Castle's House on Haunted Hill. This was love at first text. And then from there, things got hot and heavy. It started out with Nicole's topless bathroom selfie. It's safe to say I lost interest in the house on Haunted Hill instantly. Nicole was beautiful, and her boobs were glorious, big and luscious. Just like my D, she's told me. I realized in the pic her bathroom door was wide open, so maybe she was home alone. Just how lucky could I get tonight? Nicole wanted another picture for me, so I obliged. The only problem was having to choose from my gallery of naked selfies. It sounds conceited, I know, but liked showing off. Besides, I was catering to the female gaze. It's not like I was pressuring Nicole to send me anything. And hey, at least I had the buns and a big D worth showing off too, right? Anyways, I chose one of my favorites, me smiling with my big D in the bathroom mirror. Nicole loved it. I got a reply faster than a William Castle jump scare. God, you're so big, she told me, music to my ears. Grinning, I was ready to take another sip of beer when a loud screech startled me, making me spill some booze. Annoyed, I looked towards the TV. William Castle had got me again. Another goddamn cheap jump scare. I muted the TV, ready to focus on my newest thrill instead of the 1950s classic. Another picture message from Nicole arrived. I beamed with excitement as I clicked it. The photo showed Nicole clutching those big boobs together in the bathroom. A sultry look was on her face. Even when she was trying to be over-sexualized, she still had a playful innocence to her. I hoped maybe that's what she thought of me when I smiled with my D hanging out. She sent me a text. Can I come over? Conflicting thoughts ran through my mind. Sure, I was horny and I hadn't gotten laid since I was 19. And yeah, none of my few conquests had anything on Nicole. None of them were even this hot, or this cool for that matter. Screw it, I'm not even sure if any of them were even gunning for a degree, much less one in English. But on the other hand, Nicole could have been an old guy catfishing, or maybe a creepy old lady, or hell, even just a scammer who might come here in the middle of the night and force me to take nudes for them. Nicole's boobs were so big though, and she's hot, and I'm all alone. And William Castle nor Vincent Prince were going to do anything to satisfy my sexual desires, so I gave in. 1414 Winston Road, I texted back. I also added, "Are you sure you're not too far? I can go over there." I got another quick response. "Yeah, that's like 5 minutes from here." "I thought you were in Americus," I texted back. Her quick reply, "Nah, my grandma's in Stanwick. I'm here for the weekend." Holy crap, I thought. At this rate, I should be buying lottery tickets. Another picture arrived soon without even asking. Queen Nicole had sent me another nude, this one of her in a bra and panties. Here was this gorgeous girl modeling in her own bathroom for me. I stared at the lovely sight, in trance. She sent me a text, "You like?" Before I could respond, I noticed something in the corner of the photo, and right there, my moment of glory was zapped. Rather than triumph, I felt immense fear. Someone holding a laptop was standing right outside of Nicole's bathroom. The gleam of the screen illuminated their ski mask in dark clothing and black gloves. Their expressionless eyes stayed on Nicole, but most of all, the laptop they held shined a light on a shiny butcher knife they held, and Nicole seemed to have no idea someone was standing just a few feet away from her. I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I took another swig of beer like that was going to make me any calmer or any more rational. It didn't. My eyes stayed on the frightening sight, the dark ski mask, the piercing eyes, the piercing blade. I stared at it for what seemed like an eternity. I guess I was hoping Nicole would send me another message, or hell, another picture in that bathroom. This one without whoever the hell was out there lurking in her hallway. I downed the beer. I threw can number 5 under the coffee table. Fueled by drunken courage, I called Nicole. I'd always hated phone calls. Why else do you think I always texted and sexted? But I knew this was different. Nicole needed help. The phone rang and rang. Nervous sweat slid down my face. "Come on, Nicole," I muttered. "Pick up the phone." But she didn't answer. The ominous rings blared through my mind as if my head were a vast cave. And then her voicemail greeted me. At least Nicole had a cute voice. I hung up, restless and disturbed. I threw my phone on the coffee table, right next to the empty can. In that moment, I felt helpless. I barely even knew Nicole, and outside of my urge to sext, I probably wouldn't have ever even talked to her. But I cared about her. I was worried. My nerves made me crack out another can of cheap beer. I think I downed it in seconds. It was supposed to help calm me, but it didn't. William Castle's skeletons and jump scares weren't helping either. I crushed the empty can and dropped it on the coffee table. My phone then shattered through the silence with a cold vibration. The unpleasant sound of it skirting across the table scared the crap out of me. I grabbed my cell phone. A new message from Nicole awaited me. A picture message. Hesitant, I debated opening it. What if this was all some sort of sick prank, and Nicole was sending me a virus or a sign-up link to one of those amateur sites? The sad part is, I actually hoped that was the case, that my huge crush was just your regular spam bot, not an oblivious target. Yet, I had to know for sure. I swiped through my phone. I turned away in horror. Nicole was in the picture, only she didn't take this one. Rather than modeling in her sexiest pose, her body had been positioned in the bathtub, still in her bra and panties, her chest excavated by a most sharp blade. Pieces and bits of her organs dangled out like ornaments on a tree. The once empty tub was almost filled with redness, a literal bloodbath from her body. Judging by the marks and cuts on her hands, she'd put up a fight, but in her vulnerable state, she didn't have a chance. No one would. And her big eyes stayed with me. Gone was her cute smile, but her eyes that had captivated me all night were well on display, and they were looking right at me. I forced myself to face the haunting image once more. I was devastated, but couldn't help but see how the killer had positioned Nicole so elegantly. It was an artistic pose almost. Even the lighting in the room seemed different, as if this sick person had staged everything just for the photo, just for his audience, just for me. God, I said in horror, tears sliding down on my face. I went back to my home screen. I never met Nicole in person, but anguish ravaged me. She looked to have gone through so much pain. God, it must have been awful. I hoped it was all just some sick joke, but I knew that was just wishful thinking. I looked off at the TV. Somehow, William Castle's schlock was comforting. The staged murders, the plastic skeleton, and the elaborate mansions set were a welcome distraction from all the too real violence I held in my hands. Like a cattle prod, my phone erupted with another vibration, a text from Nicole. I opened it and looked on at the message. "Hey, stud." What the hell? I thought. Then another text appeared. "You recognize her now?" Horror conquered me. The killer was texting me. Trembling, I started to text back. A third message hit my frightened eyes. "She's a real screamer." I sent a reply. "Who the hell is this?" And then I thought, what the hell am I doing? The drunken courage really had gotten to me. I wasn't calling the police or my parents. I was texting a killer. Pissed at myself, I did what I thought any drunk and terrified mind would do. I opened another beer. My phone vibrated with a new notification. Dreading the next text message or a pic, I looked down on my screen, but it was neither. Instead, the killer had emphasized one of the messages I sent to Nicole, a bold exclamation point placed next to my home address, 1414 Winston Road. My heart sank as the cheap beer slipped through my fingers. The can smashed against the ground and the booze flowed all through my socks, but I didn't feel it. I just felt fear, immense horror. Another message was emphasized, the one where Nicole said she was only 10 minutes away. The exclamation point made me realize her killer was less than 10 minutes away. Holding the phone, I hauled ass out of the room. I yanked a large knife out of my parents' wooden knife block. I gripped the weapon tight as I peered through the kitchen window. It was hard to see anything with such dim lighting. My mom had been yelling at my dad for the sorry excuse security lights these past few years, and right now, I would have been yelling at him too. I couldn't see anything. I stepped back into the living room. My phone shook in an aggressive rumble, making me jump back in fright. "Crap!" I cried out. Another message from Nicole's number awaited my gaze. I opened it. It was a video message, and judging by the thumbnail, I could tell where it was taken, my front yard. Uneasy, I stole a glance out a window, but that was useless. I couldn't see anything out there. "Thanks a lot, Dad." I confronted my phone and played the video. It was creepier than I expected. The 10-second clip showed me looking out the kitchen window. In it, I held my knife like I was actually going to do something. God, I looked stupid. More terror struck me. Whoever took this was in my yard, and they weren't scared. The killer was just teasing me with it, toying me like a skilled NBA player does to a 4-year-old at summer camp. I bet this person was laughing right now. Relying on all the drunken courage I had left, I sent the murderer a new message. "Leave me alone. I'm calling the police." Right before I could steal another glance out the window, my phone buzzed. The killer had replied, in all caps, "Too late." Screw it, my beer-fueled courage just left faster than a stream of drunken piss. My propulsive fingers, I dialed 911 and put my phone to my ear. I told the 911 dispatcher everything, regardless of how crazy and insane it sounded. I pleaded with her. "Please send someone to 1414 Winston Road now," I told her. The whole time, I clutched the knife while I waited on the line, just in case. I kept waiting to get another text or maybe see that dark ski mask in my house. I did my best to keep my eyes looking out the windows until I saw flashing red and blue lights roll up outside. Thankfully, 2 squad cars had shown up. 2 policemen came inside my house. One was nice and quiet, the other scrawny. He was Barney Fife 2.0. I could tell Deputy Fife had taken one look at me, and one look at the beer, and one look at the empty pizza box before making up his mind, but that didn't stop me from pleading my case. I told them all about Nicole. I showed them the pics, the video. I made Barney Fife believe me, or at least believe me enough to take my story seriously. Barney was still complaining, but I knew his partner wasn't an ass. The quiet cop believed me and convinced Barney to go check on Nicole's place. I was relieved when the nice cop even offered to stake out my place until the morning. After the commotion had died down, I finally felt safe. I had cops checking on Nicole. I had a squad car parked right outside. and I had my parents coming back in the morning. Believe me, when I told my mom and dad everything, they were freaking out, and for once, I was glad to have such neurotic parents. Either way, I finally felt like I could just sit back and get back to the classic movie marathon. Anything to get my mind off of what happened to Nicole. At least, Carnival of Souls was on. By then, I had popped a few more beers. I looked outside to see the nice police officer was still stationed out there in the driveway. Hell, I'd felt so safe I even thrown my knife on the coffee table. I finished beer number 8, and then many drunk ideas ran through my mind. And yeah, maybe the thought of getting back on those chat apps did occur. After all, it would be a temporary distraction from the pain I felt over Nicole. But then I realized she deserved better than that. I mean, what if she was the one? And here I was, still alive and drinking cheap beer. And then I thought, after all this, what happened to her killer anyway? Could it have been a prank? Was Nicole alive? Hell, was she even real? Hesitant, I looked back on my phone. There was still no word back from Barney Fife or any of the other officers. But I needed to know more. I needed to know Nicole was okay. I muted the TV and stared down Nicole's phone number. Screw it. I called the damn thing, partly out of morbid curiosity, and partly out of lingering fear from not having any closure on the ordeal. After all, I wanted to catch this person. I wanted to avenge Nicole's death. As the call connected, I waited in intense dread for the killer to pick up. What would they sound like? What would they say? I felt more sweat slide down my forehead. The anticipation was getting to me, and anticipation built off fear. The first couple of rings only further heightened my nerves. Come to think of it, what was I going to say? Hey, you sicko, go turn yourself in. Jesus, this drunken courage, more like drunken stupidity. But before I could hang up, I heard music. Shocked, I lowered the phone as I looked through the living room. The music was annoying. Pop music, a sunny chorus. What the hell? I thought. Was that Nelly Furtado? I listened up and realized it was I'm Like a Bird, in its all cheesy glory. I looked towards the phone. The call was still ringing, and Nelly was still singing. The connection hit me like a punch in the gut. The unease overwhelmed me, but I forced myself to keep going like the world's cockiest amateur sleuth. Maybe the alcohol was talking. I followed Nelly Furtado's jam all down my long, dark hallway. The music was louder now. The call to Nicole kept ringing, and a ringtone just kept playing. Tracing the song, I followed it to my basement door. I deliberated on what to do. The ringing tormented me. I'm Like a Bird teased me, and Nicole haunted me. Under all that weight, my head started spinning. The pressure was getting to me. I decided to just do it. I opened the door and rushed inside. My drunken courage had returned. Or maybe I was just sick and ready to confront whatever or whoever lurked in the house with me. The basement should have been pitch black, but it wasn't. There was a faint glow emanating from the very back, and the song was very overpowering. It was as if I had busted in on Nelly Furtado in the studio. I'm Like a Bird was so damn loud at this point, the ultra-catchy chorus blared through the room. I hustled down the stairs. My one-track mind drove me closer and closer to the very back of the basement, right where the glow and Nelly were coming from. As I got closer, I heard muffled voices. They sounded young and annoying, like scheming high schoolers having second thoughts about a graffiti escapade. Who the hell were they? I wondered. Were there multiple killers? Was this all some sort of sick prank? Maybe one or two of the people I interacted with in college were actually throwing me a surprise party. Maybe it was all the girls and guys I'd screw around with before. Who knows? I felt a cool breeze hit me. One of the windows nearby was wide open. But still, I went on. I forced myself to keep going. Fight or flight, Patrick. Yeah, the alcohol was definitely talking. And then I reached my destination. Amidst the clutter of storage my OCD father had kept stowed away in here for decades, I saw a glowing laptop lying on a table. I recognized it instantly. It was the killer's laptop, and Nelly Furtado kept playing right next to it. The song, nothing more than a ringtone from a large iPhone. I staggered up to the eerie sight. I realized the phone was Nicole's. With grim humor, I knew it had to be waterproof since it was drenched in blood. Hell, she'd even saved me as a contact. There was my name, Patrick, in my Tinder profile pic serving as the contact photo. She did like me. I hung up the phone, dejected and disturbed. No more Nellie. Look at that. I heard a teenage voice squeal. Yeah, you look sad as hell. Another person quipped. The voices forced my gaze towards the laptop. I now saw a piece of paper taped over the laptop screen. Big cruel letters like the killer's all-caps text message spelled a cruel note for me. Here's even more attention, stud. The killer had even drawn a winking smiley face for me. It was a harsh illustration, like one a disturbed man would draw to emulate the wild creativity of an ADD-riddled child. And unlike the letters, I realized the winking face was drawn from dark red ink, from Nicole's blood. Disgusted, I ripped the page off the screen, and then saw a multitude of windows on the laptop. They all appeared to be shots from Skype and some other video call site. A smorgasbord of faces looked back at me. Young, old, male, female. The many faces formed a captivated audience. "Oh, he sees us," a smiling teenager commented. The kid's voice sounded like it hadn't dropped yet. Rather than World of Warcraft, apparently whatever the site was his outlet from the bullies. In another window, an old woman waved at me. "Hi there," she exclaimed in a polite tone. "Say something," a bald guy hurled at me. I could just feel their collective eyes on me. There were a mob of intrigued faces. Uneasy, I took a step back. This wasn't Reddit's amateur side. This wasn't the type of audience I was used to. They didn't look hungry for carnal lust. They looked hungry for blood. "Oh, I think I see him," the teen announced in his pissy, high-pitched voice. My eyes drifted over towards the very top left corner of the screen, and there I saw a small window showing me in a dark basement. A live stream I couldn't hide from. "This is gonna be good," I heard another teenager say. "It'd be better. I paid good money for this," a bald guy proclaimed. At the bottom of the screen, I noticed a chat box overflowing with comments. Messages like "get him," "kill him." Even casual jokes were being thrown about Nicole. Too bad those boobs went to waste. She still looked good though. And then I saw the name of the site I was on. It wasn't Skype. It wasn't Omegle. No, it was Live Kills. Real live kills streaming. See all the blood, all the time. The address didn't even look familiar. No .com or .org. This was on the deep web. The crap all those creepypastas warned you about, but no one ever actually believed. "Oh, here he comes," that same person squealed, his high-pitched voice reaching the annoying heights of a shrill alarm. I looked back at the live stream of me, even in the small window. I could make out that creepy ski mask emerging through the basement's darkness. The glimmer of the killer's long butcher knife reflected off the laptop's screen. I heard the crowd ooh and ah in excitement from every window. They were ready for the show. What lonely, desperate 30-something could resist a tagline like that? I tried Tinder, Bumble, Plenty of Fish, and Match.com, but to name a few and had gotten nothing that lasted more than a few dinner dates. 99% of clients never use another dating app again, and it's completely free. I double-checked the app's info, and it was no joke. There were no in-app purchases, no secret sign-up fees, and hundreds of positive 4 or 5-star reviews. Except one. 1 star. This app is not what it says it is. That was it. Not why it shouldn't be downloaded. Not why it was deceitful. Nothing more. Trolls, right? I hit the little cloud icon and waited. For what felt like the 100th time, I set up a profile. Same old pictures, same old witty bio one-liner. Gone were the butterflies I'd felt back when I thought these things could actually work. I did the stupid verification shot. I connected to my social media profile. But then, things got different. The app asked me to hold my eye up close to the front-facing camera. It didn't say why, but I'd assume it was there for some kind of security feature. I was impressed. If these were the steps they took to eliminate the chances of bots or catfishing, I was definitely on board. Now, usually, the next step with these dating apps is to pursue the various profiles of potential matches. But not Getchu. This app simply began a process of finding a match that was perfectly tailored to me in every way. I was skeptical, but within a few moments, I was stunned to see the resulting match. It was a picture of a girl named Gaia, age 27, who was less than 2 miles away from me. She was perfect. I mean, utterly perfect for me. An objectively beautiful biracial girl, but with a quirky hairstyle and piercings that I have always found to be irresistible. What's more, she was charming, polite, and she actually seemed to be into me. Seemed being the operative word. The next day, she didn't reply to any of my messages. A few days later, despite being pretty thick-skinned from my previous experiences with dating apps, I checked the Getchu app, just in case Gaia had been busy or I hadn't received any notifications. I felt pretty rejected once I saw that she'd been active on the app, but still hadn't bothered to reply to me. She'd posted a new picture of herself though, and I'm ashamed to say that I couldn't resist looking at it. But she did not look like the same perky, smiling girl I'd seen a few days prior. She looked tired, worn out, like she'd not been eating or sleeping properly. It occurred to me that this is why she hadn't been replying. Hell, I wouldn't be so keen on flirting with internet strangers if I'd come down with an illness myself. But the next day, another photo was posted. She looked even worse. Her skin seemed dry and flaky, and her once deep golden brown eyes seemed faded and milky. She looked like she was dying. I hammered out a message to her, asking if everything was okay and that she should maybe see a doctor if she was feeling so bad. The reply came back instantly. She wanted to meet up. I replied that I was free during the afternoon, but she insisted that we meet at night. I asked her where and when, but no reply came. She didn't reply for hours. But she has now. She sent me one solitary text message that says, "I'm outside." I never told her where I lived, but yet she's still here. I know because I looked outside my apartment building. A very sickly, hungry-looking girl is standing on the pavement outside my building, looking right up at the windows of my apartment. People are walking past her, but it's as if they don't see her. It's a no one can see her but me. I'm going to go downstairs now to see what she wants, or rather, what she is. I have no idea what'll happen, but there's no doubt in my mind Getchu will well and truly be the last dating app I ever use. Thanks for watching, Wolfpack. If you want to submit your story, my email and subreddit will be in the description below. And also, if you're not subscribed, please do if you want. And don't forget to like and comment as well. Have beautiful nightmares. And I will see you next time.